Growing up, I was often home alone. This was because my mom worked 3 jobs and was the sole provider for my family. I rarely got to see my brother because he was occupied with his gang, and my dad chose gambling over his own family. By the age of 5, I was already responsible for myself. There were many days where I disguised my loneliness as independence. However, the only thing worse than an empty house was an empty fridge. Food insecurity was an unfortunate reality for myself and many other families in marginalized communities. Many days I starved while trying to find my next meal. This was until I came up with a plan. I decided to knock on strangers' doors to ask for food. Anything was better than nothing, right? I roamed around my neighborhood, passing by drug deals, people shooting up heroin, and sketchy vans in order to knock on even sketchier houses. I got 5 doors slammed in my face that day. Before giving up, I decided to try one more house on my way home. This time, an old man opened the door and looked down at me. I started up my pitch once more, and he ended up inviting me into his porch. I was so excited with the potential of eating that I didn't even recognize the glaring dangers of sitting in a stranger's home. The old man left me there for about a couple minutes, and he came back with 2 sandwiches. I quickly devoured them. I actually ate 4 sandwiches that day. As I prepared to leave, the old man did something I didn't expect. He talked to me, genuinely talked to me. This conversation lasted for hours, but it honestly felt like seconds. I learned that his name was Kip, he had 3 kids, he was a dog person, and he loved to garden. I told him about my great ambitions of being the next Hannah Montana, my favorite ice cream flavors, and I even sang him all of my favorite songs. When I was with Kip, I was able to be a kid. This experience started a long relationship that would last for the rest of his life. He became my only father figure. He helped me through my parents' divorce, wiped my tears every time my father disappointed me, judged my first boyfriend, all the classic dad stuff. Now I recognize that I'm very lucky. 1,000 things could have gone wrong the day I met Kip. No one should risk their well-being in order to get some food, especially a child. 12 years later, I saw 3 kids in the exact same situation I was. Their names were Jeremy, Mason, and Liana. They lived across from me, and I had observed them from my window for a couple years. I saw this as my opportunity to pay it forward and do what Kip did for me. I decided to make a Thanksgiving meal and invite them over. My plan of approach was to make so much food that I needed help dealing with it. My biggest concern was not making them feel like a charity case. I think I did a good job because that day we ended up having great food with great company and even better conversations. Throughout the day, I saw their guards lowering, and this helped me learn so much about them. This was the start of our relationship. I ended up being Jeremy's emergency contact when he got into an accident. Whenever their parents fought, they came over to my house and cried in my arms, and when their parents forgot to pick them up from school, I was there waiting with ice cream to greet them. We even developed our own secret code. They would knock on the very window that I noticed them from, and each had their own individualized knock. Reflecting on my own experience, Kip did so much more than make me a sandwich. He was my friend. He was a reliable person that gave me a safe space to be myself. He gave me what I didn't know I needed, human connection. If Kip had sent me home that day, I would have waken up the next day, hungry as usual, in my shell of a home. In retrospect, the relationship I had with Kip changed my life. I tried doing the same thing for the kids by using Kip as a role model. I got to know them for who they were rather than the circumstances that they were in. I listened rather than assumed I knew what they needed, and I prioritized being their friend rather than being their savior. I learned from my experience as the person who got helped and the person that helped is that genuine kindness matters. Whether you're the person giving help or receiving help, the authenticity of your actions will shine through. Sometimes kindness is the remedy we didn't know we needed. No matter what our troubles are, having a friend that unconditionally supports you, having someone to listen and understand makes the battle infinitely easier. I won't lie and say that having a friend will erase all of your problems, but having someone there makes whatever you're going through so much more bearable.